subconsciously there's like tied into like, is this real? Like it will be like a little bit of a safety test. Like, oh, you used to be the person that did this. Like, are you still? Like, if I poke the bear, what will happen? And that does happen subconsciously in some ways and a little bit conscious, but it's also just remembering like what every woman wants, no matter like, I'm independent, I'm successful, I can do all these things all by myself. And it's wonderful. And what every woman wants is to be able to like lean back into her man and have it, like you said, be like, you're the oak tree. Like, I am safe. I can like lean into you and just let go here. Like, this is a super sacred space between you and I that I can count on you for that.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TPM show. I am here greeted once again by my beautiful wife, Erin. She's here, back by popular demand, if you will, to provide a woman's perspective. So Erin, babe, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me again. I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one again. We got a great response the last time you were on. I got a lot of private messages from men just saying it was really nice and refreshing to get a woman's perspective, in particular yours. Yeah,
it's been really, really satisfying to do this with you and to hear the conversations happening. It's really enjoyable.
It is. As you know, I'm a little under the weather, so
I do know.
Operating about 30%, being generous to myself, but we'll make it through this. One of the things I did in our private community, and guys, you'll see me looking at my phone if you're watching this, I'm going to read them, is I asked guys what kind of questions would they like me to ask you? And also in our private community on Facebook, guys responded. So I'm going to read a couple questions as we go through this, and we'll work our way through.
Great.
So this one's from Chief, and he has it's a 3-part question,
okay,
but I'll take number 2 for Chief here. He'd like to know your opinion on how to get a woman to see you for the man you are, not the man you used to be. What are your thoughts on that?
Super, super, super good question. Because as we grow in our marriages, it can seem like it's this paradox of like your partner being like, oh my goodness, thank goodness, I've wanted this for so long. Finally doing XYZ, whatever that is, or not doing XYZ. It's like, finally see the light. Paradox with, oh my goodness, what does this change mean for me, my marriage? Is he going to want to leave or find somebody else? Or all the fear that comes in, even though it's what we want, right? So it can get in this sticky pattern of, wanting that and also in a weird way, testing our partner. Are you like really doing this, or is this a show, right? And so this might be the first part of the answer. I think I would say might sound kind of boring, but at the same time, it works. Consistency and modeling.
Yep.
Just like when you're raising kids, consistent behavior of who you are and representing yourself in a way where you're like really proud of yourself and cleaning up your side of the street when things happen, and just modeling it. It's like who you are being, who is your energy, like how are you showing up time and time again, and she will feel it. She will for sure notice a difference in your energy. Your woman is attuned to you as her man. So that's like a layer of that question. Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Because I get this from men a lot, and what tends to happen in my experience with these guys, and it happened with me early on in our relationship too, and I'm sure it's happened in previous relationships, where I'll decide that I want to move the needle somehow in the relationship, and I'll do something in order to get something else, right? So said another way, if I want you to see a change within me, I'll do it and I'll await your reaction, which then becomes external validation, which then further reinforces your doubt of the transformation. So again, let me say this in a way that some of the guys are like, what are you talking about? That some of the guys can get, they're listening to this. When we as men or people, women, same way of women, by the way, but when we as people, if I do something for Erin, that I want her to see a change, like maybe it's all of a sudden I start cooking dinner every night, which I know would be amazing. Let's just say I start cooking dinner every night because I want her to see how amazing of a man I am, right? Now, if I'm doing that, at first she's going to go, oh, this is great. He's cooking dinner every night. but she's also going to feel the energetic shift that I'm doing this for a reason, right? Now it becomes a transaction. And what I'm doing, what it's showing is I'm giving you, or Erin, the power, saying that you have the control of how I show up as a man, because your reaction to what my action is, your reaction to it determines my self-worth. Ergo, this is a temporary change, right? And you can throw me off balance at any point, therefore you're not safe.
Yeah.
And so for Chief, what I want to make sure he understands, and every other guy listening to this, your woman needs to know that you've made this change, not making, you've made this change for yourself first. So therefore it's grounded and solid, like an oak tree grounded in its roots. She'll know the difference. She'll know if you're faking or you're being needy. So I'm going to call the first thing, like if I'm cooking dinner to get a result from Erin, that's needy energy because it's external validation outside of myself. However, if I just decide, you know what, I want to cook dinner every night because I love cooking, I want to do it for my family, I want to put love into the food, all of these other things that people that cook would think, and I'm doing it because regardless of Erin's reaction, then you're going to pick up, and the guys, your wives, your partners, are going to pick up that energy and realize that that's actually solid and it's going to stick around.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. And it coming back to like, she will be attuned to your energy of how you show up. And also it is when we do change, like, even though it's welcome, in a way, it's like subconsciously there's like tied into like, is this real? Like, it will be like a little bit of a safety test. Like, oh, you used to be the person that did this. Like, are you still? Like, if I poke the bear, what will happen? And that does happen subconsciously in some ways and a little bit conscious, but it's also just remembering like what every woman wants, no matter, like, I'm independent, I'm successful, I can do all these things all by myself, and it's wonderful. And what every woman wants is to be able to like, just like, if you can't see on the video, but just like lean back into her man and have it, like you said, be like, you're the oak tree. Like, I am safe. I can like lean into you and just let go here. Like, this is a super sacred space between you and I that I can count on you for that.
Yeah. And that's something, and I'm going to touch on that in a little bit, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's something I thought about for our conversation today that we're doing. I'm going to go into it in a second, so you might have to remind me because my brain's just not working the way it normally does.
Gotcha.
Thank you. And also, I think the guys really need to just reinforce this. Like, how do you convince, the original question, how do I convince her I'm the man I am today, not the man I used to be? To your point, you got to show up every day, regardless. So this is what the analogy we use as the lighthouse. Regardless of the storm, a lot of people, men, an example, they turn the lighthouse on when it's convenient, right? They turn the light from the lighthouse is on when it's convenient. And when the going gets rough, they turn it off because it's easier. They get triggered, emotions come up, but then that lighthouse no longer becomes trustworthy, right? I can't trust that it's going to be safe for me from a woman's perspective. And I think it also comes back to, are you doing this for yourself? Like, regardless. And I was talking to a group of men we have that are going through the activation method, which is our flagship program. They're going through the relationship component of that. And one of the guys was asking, he's like, hey, my wife and I are separated right now. I'm making all these changes. I feel the best I've ever felt. Is she going to notice? And my reaction to him was twofold. First and foremost, do it for yourself. Because if you're doing it for her reaction, she'll pick up on that, a mile away. Yeah. And the second thing is, she probably will notice, but if you do it for yourself, your stock just rises. You just become a better person, a better man, a better husband. If you stay together, a better father, better member of your community, and just a better human being. And most of the men that listen to this show invest a little bit here, some more than others.
Yeah.
But you don't want to invest in a stock that's going down. You want to invest in a stock that's going up.
Yeah. And tied in with that too is one of the fastest ways to improve any relationship, first and foremost, the one with yourself, is to focus on yourself. It's like counterintuitive where we kind of get in these weird codependent patterns with partners after longer term relationships. And remembering like what Doug is saying, like when you are making sure to really take positive care of yourself and stop focusing outward, trying to change your partner, stop your partner from doing this, or cleaning up the mess that your partner makes emotionally or, whatever. And just remembering, like, trusting that they are a full-grown adult and that they are responsible for themselves and you are responsible for you. And like you being responsible for yourself and your happiness and your joy and your health and your wealth and your whatever success means to you and your fatherhood and motherhood, you will find more joy in your relationship because you're bringing the energy back to you. You're not going to be so drained.
100%. Yeah. A lot of us, I mean, you and I did this early on.
Oh, for sure. We are deep codependent patterns.
Well, no, not only that, what I was going to say is, it's kind of that story like, well, shit, if Erin just changes this and that and realizes how amazing I am, then no problem. I mean, I know you didn't think that about me, but
no.
but I certainly thought that about you. Oh, if she only changes these things. And so a lot of men get into this thing of like, again, how do I get my wife to do the work? The way you do it to start off with is you do the work, right? You model that work, as you said earlier, for strong, right? You got to be consistent. You got to model, which is do it yourself. The thing I wanted to bring up that I was thinking about earlier, and this is something I'm still working on personally, and I know your answer, but maybe I'll let the guys hear it first, is sometimes when I find you, I'm just going to say being moody or whatever it may be, my reaction is just, okay, fine, I'll just give her space. And if we're in a disagreement, I used to do this all the time and I walk away and give space, which I thought was the right thing to do. And what you want, regardless of your action, the way you act, what is it you've told me that you really want?
I want you to come to me.
So yeah. So at Erin's, you've told me directly, and guys, I want you to listen to this, where I thought, fine, she just wants space because we're not getting along. I'll use the term moody, whatever it is. And so I'll go, my reaction, I think this is most men's reaction. Fine, I'm just going to give her space. She's kind of being bitchy, what have you. And you say, no. And those times, what I really want you to do is, you don't say this, but my interpretation is weather the storm. But what you do say is, I want you to pull me in during those times and hold me closer and let me know everything's going to be okay. Let me know that you love me. Yes.
Because most of the time, it's, every now, like once a year, I get moody or something like that.
Yeah, it's even rarer than that. But
no, but like, if we're having a tough day or things are building up or whatever it is, and I'm acting in a way that I'm like not my best, not proud of, there's always something underneath it, right? It's not the surface level of like whatever this little snippet comment is about trash or whatever. There's always some sort of hurt or sadness or disappointment under it. And so it's like, when you like pull me in and like, hey, what's really going on? Sometimes it might even take me a minute to just be like, hey, this is actually I'm really affected by this. And I didn't realize it. And it's coming out sideways. So like, yeah, a lot of times just remembering like when your partner's acting not their best, there's usually something else going on underneath it.
Yeah. And I'm going to further drive this home if that's okay. And this is my learning is as a guy, I'm thinking I'm going to be the nice guy and back off. Plus it's easier, by the way, right? Just easier to back off. And maybe I need my own space at that point. But when I take leadership and pull you in, you feel safer. You feel more reassured in our relationship together. I would say that your verbiage would be, you feel like I'm more your man.
Yes, exactly.
That's what every man wants.
Like you are my man. I can lean into you and fall and break apart. And it's a safe place to do that.
Do you think every woman wants that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to drive it home for the guys.
Absolutely.
And so even when, this is something I'm working with a guy one-on-one right now, and he's discovering, in fact, his partner even said something to the effect of, she was scared that he can now see her because he's doing so much growth on himself that he's starting to realize not only stuff inward inside of himself, but he's also recognizing stuff in her. And her response was, it scares me that you can start to see me, right? And he just didn't say anything, and they parted ways. And to me, that was a bid for safety. Like, no, she's telling you to comfort her, pull her in and say, you're safe, regardless of what I see, what happens. I love you. Yeah. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. And I think it's just remembering like it can be a really beautiful thing in a relationship when hopefully both people they kind of take a stand for themselves of like wanting more and wanting more depth, more connection, more emotional intimacy and physical intimacy. Like all of those outcomes come with you taking the best care of yourself, right? So, yeah, just reminding her that is what he wants as well, right?
Yeah. And when we want this for ourselves, it also gives permission for our wives to take care of themselves. Erin, you coach women, as most of the guys know. And so a lot of the women are feeling underappreciated, overwhelmed. You talk about this idea of motherwhelmed, right? They got the kids, they got work, they got all these things that responsibilities they're looking at. And so society tells your wives, guys, that they have to live up to this standard. They have to be cover model beautiful. They have to be the perfect mom, the perfect parent, the perfect wife, the perfect friend, and all these unachievable things. And guys, we get it too, which is a little bit different to go in there. But when you start taking care of yourself as a man, you give her permission to do so. And it goes vice versa.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Chief has one more question on here.
Okay.
And his question, I'll just read it real quick. He's got 3 questions, but Chief, I'll give you this other one. He said, would you like a male or female Bernie doodle when he comes to the ranch? Because he wants to buy you a dog.
Not right now. I can't keep anything else alive.
So thanks, Chief. Appreciate the gifts, guys, when you send them. But yeah, so guys, when driving this home, let's give these guys 3 things that they could do. Right now, they're doing the work on themselves. They're showing up as better men in their relationships in particular, but we'll talk about their lives as well. What are 3 things that guys can do right now coming off of this insight to allow their wives to more fully see them as the best versions of themselves, not the guy they may have been in the past?
Yeah. It's a boring answer, but it works. Just model it. Be the man you're proud of being. Like, you're the behavior, the thoughts, the way you speak, like how you show up for yourself, your people, your family. Like, be proud of it. Like, it will be contagious, and pretty quickly, actually, it's what she actually wants. It's just it changes the equilibrium of everything. So that can just be a little wobbly at first, but consistently modeling is like highlight that over and over and over again. I think that would be 1, 2, and 3. And then also, like, remember, underneath all of this, like, keep it fun. Bring fun into your own life. You're like, you guys, I think sometimes we forget to bring fun and joy into our lives as adults. And if you ever think about things that make you feel alive, like for me, one of the things I love to do is downhill skiing. Like, it makes me feel alive. So I come back a better version of me for everybody that I love. Family, everywhere, clients, friends. And so it's just like, remember to make time and space for both of you to do things that bring you joy. And you might not know what that is. Sometimes we get really disconnected from it when we get really serious in our adulthood and all our responsibilities, but you're allowed to have fun.
I love it. I'm going to add a couple little pointers on there for the guys to drive it home, because I know I'll get these questions from the guys. And what Erin's saying is exactly right. Consistency is the key. And this is also why men who join the activation method for relationships, it's our flagship program, as I said, some guys within a week will turn around divorce papers to passionate love making again. And it's because their woman sees them making changes, but she can also feel that he's doing them for the right reasons.
Yeah.
He's not doing them to get her back. He's doing them to get him back.
Exactly. And also, tied in with what you just said, like, I think sometimes we create this story, I know I have in the past, that like, oh, this like change is going to take so long and just be so hard and uphill both ways type thing. Like, transformation and change can happen real fast. Like this, if you raise your hand or in this program or being coached, like, allow yourself to believe this can happen really fast. I've seen it in our lives, in our marriage. I've experienced it with my clients, and personally, like, once you're in the mindset of like, okay, I'm ready for more, like, raise your hand, like, it can happen super fast.
It can. And again, guys, I'm going to drive home the last 2 points if I can. One is do this for yourself, internal validation first. The second thing is just know that whenever you invest in yourself, your stock rises. Whether people around you see it initially or not, it rises. It's kind of like you start working out. We were talking about this, you and I, yesterday. You don't notice changes for a while. And it's when 6 weeks down the line, you still don't really notice the changes as much. And you run into that friend at the grocery store. You run into someone who's like, whoa,
Yeah.
you look amazing. And that's when it dawns on you, because sometimes these micro commitments, these micro changes take a little bit of time. Again, to your point though, that change can become instantly internally. It may take people a little while to see it. And if you've been a jerk for 10 years, don't expect your wife to change in 10 days, her perception of you. It might take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And show up consistently. Because if you're not showing up consistently, why should you believe you anyway?
Yeah.
Awesome. So babe, I always ask other guests, I didn't ask you this last time. If men want to learn more about what you're doing with women or send their women to you, where do they go?
Website and sweatdirtandsoul.com. And I will be starting a small high touch group at the end of March for women to come together. And it's condensed version, putting it in. It's like remembering who you are and remembering that who you are, what your needs are, what you want to do at this stage of your life. Deeply exploring the divine feminine and the power of that and your intuition and how you can bring that into your life. And just remembering that a whole happy woman creates a whole happy, harmonious home and marriage that is juicier and sexier and more fun. And that the biggest underlying part of this for me is always touching the kids, like kids that are raised by whole and happy and harmonious homes. Just what a gift to give to those children, that they can then later on be adults that are whole and happy and create that. And the cycle continues. So yeah.
Amen to that. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here again.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Erin's given you several insights. Number 1, 2, and 3 were be consistent. Show up consistent and model the behavior. If you want to change anybody's mind, just be authentically you in life. And I think we can all do that a little bit more and certainly up level our game. So guys, until now, see you next time on the TPM show.